So Daniel Dubois defends his WBA regular heavyweight title trinket thing after stopping Kevin Lerena in round 3, only after getting dropped 3 times himself in round 1. What a bizarre fight this was. Very short, but very bizarre, I say that. Let's get into it. So round 1 was fairly even, I must say. There wasn't really that much in it. Both guys looked like they were pretty warm and ready to fight. I can't remember where it was in the round, but Daniel Dubois goes in for a decent looking combination with some, pretty good technique, it must be said. But then Kevin Lerena has followed up as Daniel Dubois is exiting the pocket, followed up with his own 2-punch combination, a right and a left from the southpaw stance. Before you know it, Daniel Dubois is doing a funny dance. His legs are all over the place. He's like Bambi on ice. And he gets up, and then to see out the round, he gets knocked down twice more, but seemingly without taking a punch. It was just bizarre. And by that point, you're kind of thinking, okay, has Daniel Dubois hurt his ankle? Has he hurt his leg somehow? Is he just struggling to stand up now? But I watched a replay of the fight, and I was rewinding. I was thinking, I think that left hand from Lerena possibly hit Daniel Dubois on the top of the head, which has made his leg go. But then he's injured it as he's staggered. So I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything said from, any news of Daniel Dubois sustains ankle injury. So it's just very, very strange watching. I suspect he has sustained an ankle injury, but I do think the first knockdown was potentially legit. The quality of the fight that I was watching wasn't clear enough to see, but it did look like that left hand may have hit Dubois high on the head. So that was strange. And the fight's only just started. This is round 1. But even stranger, the fight the round 1 has ended 10 seconds early. And you're just thinking, is that potentially done on purpose? Because many people have been bringing up the 3 knockdown rule. Isn't that the WBA's rules? You suffer 3 knockdowns, the fight's over. So it's looking very sketchy right now. Anyway, round 2. Kevin Lerena, give him some credit. He's looking pretty handy. He's a small, dynamic, crafty southpaw. He's clearly no slouch. This is someone who knows his way around a boxing ring. And Dubois is just looking awkward. He's basically being forced backwards. He's trying to move around the ring, move laterally, use all the real estate he can, but it just looks very awkward, very unnatural. And I feel like Dubois is one of those fighters, and you see it in this fight, where his fighting style, his boxing style, perfectly matches his actual personality, where it's just awkward and robotic. It's probably the best way to describe it. But he sees through the round. Personally, I gave Kevin Lerena the second round. I thought he looked pretty decent. He got caught with a right hand, but I feel like he was showing some decent punch technique and actually was fairly sharp on the counter. So I gave the second round to Lerena, and he already won the first round pretty big. Round 3 starts, it's a bit more of the same. However, Daniel Dubois lines up a beautiful laser-like right hand that drops Kevin Lerena, timed brilliantly as Lerena was coming forward. And a follow-up onslaught from Daniel Dubois resulted in the ref calling the fight when he landed a wicked, wicked right uppercut. Almost sent Lorena's head into row Z. And that was it. That was all. And I think some people may say it was a bit early. I'd understand if you'd want to see Lerena maybe get a count and then come up. But he'd been dropped once, made it up. Daniel Dubois did finish him, was starting to land some pretty heavy leather. So I don't really have a problem with the stoppage. However, I could understand if people maybe wanted to see if Lerena could work his way out of the round or whatever. I agree with, I can agree with that. I wouldn't grumble. So yeah, that was it. That was the fight in a nutshell. Very strange. The first round is just bizarre. I think we're going to need some high definition, super slow-mo replay of the first knockdown just to see if a punch actually did land on the top of Dubois' head. I suspect it did, but as I say, the quality just wasn't great, so I can't really tell. But those second knockdowns, I'm 99% sure that punch didn't land. It just looked like Dubois was just in pain. But then it was quite strange because afterwards, in round 2 and round 3, he was moving around the ring and he didn't seem to be in much pain or discomfort at all. And I know some people are going to say, oh, but the initial shock of the potential ankle injury maybe dissipated and he was able to work with it. I'm not sure. Um, I've had like ankle injuries, like sprains and stuff like that. Even when the pain goes, there's a lot of weakness and you still can't move properly. Whereas Daniel Dubois, I don't know, he was moving okay. Awkward, but okay. Um, I don't know. This is such a weird one, but can we look into this performance? Probably not. But you know what I will say? Daniel Dubois, I think, deserves credit for this. Because yes, he was in against a seemingly overmatched opponent. Even though Lerena was decent, he looked like he was handy. I think his main issue was that he was just undersized. Maybe if he was a natural heavyweight, with the technique he had, I reckon it could have been a decent. He could have been a decent handful for Daniel Dubois and maybe lasted longer. Maybe even won. Who knows? But I think regardless of that, Daniel Dubois seemed to suffer a bit of a crisis because regardless of what the reason was behind the knockdowns, he was still knocked down. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in the first round. But he showed enough resolve to kind of get stuck in, stick with it, and get the guy out in 3 rounds. So on paper, he's really dealt with Lerena how he should. You know, maybe if you ignore the 3 knockdowns, but that can be addressed separately. I think Daniel Dubois is someone who's come under criticism well, not recently, but since losing to Joe Joyce because he quit. Let's not beat around the bush. He quit. Not judging him, but that's what he did. That's reality of it. He needs to prove to people, or many people feel that he needs to prove that he has heart, that he has some kind of fighting spirit. And this, it's a step in the right direction. Going down 3 times in round 1, potentially sustaining an ankle injury, but then sticking with it to get the guy out. That deserves some props, and props to Daniel Dubois for this. However, from a technique perspective, still very clunky, still very robotic. It still just baffles me to this day, just on a little side note, how people were always comparing Joshua to Frank Bruno, saying how robotic Joshua is. And he's not the slickest guy, but he looks like Muhammad Ali in comparison to Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, if you're going to compare anyone to Frank Bruno, it's him. But he hardly ever gets that criticism leveraged against him. It's really strange. But yeah, anyway, onwards and upwards, I guess, for Daniel Dubois. It'd be interesting to see his take on this. I haven't seen any post-fight interviews or anything. But yeah, a weird one. Short and sweet, I guess you could say. What did you think of this? Have you seen the fight? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. But for now, thanks for listening and I'll catch you on the next video.